He wondered what she was trying to pull. Outwardly, he remained polite and asked, "A deal? What deal?" The blonde princess quickly made him an attractive offer. "I want to help you reclaim the crown that you lost because of me." His face hardened at the thought, and he suddenly spoke with suspicion. "You will help me win back the crown?" The blonde princess eagerly explained, "Yes, if we show the whole world how happily we have reunited. Then everyone will love you again and you will be able to become the crown prince again. Please, I know this for a fact. You cannot forgive me easily, but please give me a chance to make it up to you." The corner of Phi's mouth lifted as he spoke coldly. "I know what you are proposing, but unfortunately that deal is impossible, Your Highness, because you are not the reason I lost the throne. If I wanted it, I have dozens of ways to take it back. All I would have to do is take care of him." The blonde princess's eyes widened with tears as she asked in confusion, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And Phi elegantly adjusted his sleeves, then closed his eyes and explained, "I chose to give up the throne. Even though there were many other easier options, it is because I do not desire it that much, princess. Now what are you proposing? To reclaim the throne for me? What about Leonard? He reluctantly took on the crown. And now you think he will simply give it up regardless of what he wants? Just because the Princess of La wishes it?" The flustered blonde princess stammered, unable to form a complete sentence. "That is not what I meant." He grew angry again, frowning as he questioned her. "Do you think the throne of Latran is a joke, Your Highness?" The blonde princess's face was covered in tears as she explained weakly through sobs. "You know that is not what I meant, John." "Please," Phi said coldly, guessing her thoughts. "You want to be the crown princess again. Why not look somewhere else?" Inside the party hall, Hansen was gripping Anna's wrist tightly as she trembled in pain, questioning him. "I was just wondering where you went, and it turns out you are here, you arrogant little lady." "Lady Hottie, do you have an appointment with the Archduke or something?" Anna yelled angrily, trying to struggle out of his grip. "Why are you doing this? Let me go," Henry suddenly said with a mocking tone, enjoying her panic. "But I don't want to," he gripped Anna, even tighter, his face full of sarcasm and contempt. "Do you look down on us just because of that bastard over there? Because he gave you a little attention? You fool! You are wasting your time clinging to that prince. You would be better off making a good impression on me. Who knows, if you behave, I might even buy you." Instead of that old geezer, Lady Hottie, Anna's whole body trembled as she thought to herself. He reeked of alcohol, but she feigned calmness and asked, "What are you talking about?" "Let go of my hand." But Hansen became even more aggressive, moving closer to Anna and grabbing her chin. He pulled her towards him and said, "Playing dumb, are you? Your father does not give a damn who you marry. As long as the price is right, which means if I offer a bit more than that old geezer, you will be sold to me. Lady Hottie, how dare someone like you look down on me?" As soon as he finished speaking, he violently pulled Anna into his arms by her waist as she screamed in fear. Hansen pressed his face into the crook of Anna's neck, pervertedly sniffing her scent. Anna frantically struggled, punching and screaming at him. "What are you doing? Let me go! Let go!" Hansen yelled in frustration, ordering Anna to stay still. The corners of Anna's eyes were wet with tears. On the verge of tears, in a bottomless pit of despair, she quickly gathered all her strength into her hands. Then she pushed him hard in the chest. Anna ran away in fear while Hansen chased after her like a leech. "Stop right there!" Anna's face darted around as she frantically thought to herself. "What should I do? Where can I run?" Her body suddenly stopped and she turned to look at his approaching figure. She thought to herself, running is useless. Anna looked at the window. A bold idea suddenly came to her mind. It is a dead end. At this rate he will catch me. I guess I have to jump. Hansen gave a sinister, triumphant smirk and called out, "You had better be a good girl." Anna backed away in fear. "Don't come any closer. Stop." A loud noise suddenly erupted. Along with Anna's piercing scream, at that moment in another place, Phi let out a tired sigh. Then he decisively put on his cloak, thinking to himself, "So tiring, it is time to leave." Anna's piercing scream suddenly echoed through the air, catching his attention. He slowly turned his head toward the voice, thinking to himself, "That voice, Anna!" He started to walk away when he heard nothing else. Did I mishear? The sound rang out once more, cutting him off mid-stride and making him stop completely. Phi frowned in annoyance, clicked his tongue and muttered, "It seems someone has had too much fine wine and is now harassing a maid. As if things were not troublesome enough, now I have to deal with this? What idiot is making a fool of himself?" Anna was panting tiredly, her hand clutching a weapon, her eyes suddenly filled with tears. Her eyes widened in shock, looking in a certain direction, and Phi also froze when he saw her. He rushed over to Anna. He called out in concern while Hanzo lay knocked out on the ground by her Lady Hottie. Phi's sharp eyes scanned the scene. The first thing he saw was her half-torn clothes and her trembling body. Then the weapon, a lamp Anna had grabbed from the table in a panic, and most importantly, Hansen. With a bloody head lying unconscious on the floor, Phi blurted out, "What the hell?" Anna, with a tear-streaked face, tried to suppress her fear and stammered, "Your Highness, I think I killed someone. I did not mean to, but I was so scared." With a bloody head lying unconscious on the floor, Phi blurted out, "What the hell?" Anna, her face streaked with tears, tried to suppress her fear and stammered, "Your Highness, I think I killed someone. I did not mean to, but I was so scared." He collapsed after being hit and striking his head, bleeding profusely. Phi gently knelt to check on his condition. Paying no mind to Anna's words, he thought, "So this is the second son of the Hanzo family. Worse than I thought. Even those with the filthiest private lives. No better than to abuse the daughter of a noble family like this." Phi quickly turned to reassure her, "Don't worry, he just fainted. He will wake up soon. Scum like him do not die that easily." Anna finally calmed down a little and asked doubtfully, "Really?" And Phien reached for the cloak on his back. He gently draped it over Anna's trembling body. The two stood facing each other in the hazy and somewhat ambiguous atmosphere. Phien answered Anna sincerely, "It is true." Her body finally relaxed in relief before she collapsed. He asked worriedly if she could walk on her own. Cold sweat poured down Anna's face as she nodded lightly. Phien then reached out and took the blood-stained weapon from Anna's hand, then gently reminded her, "I have got it now, go." Anna choked back a sob and cried out, "Your Highness!" But he cut her off with sincere instructions to leave through the far left passageway. "Go until you see the stairs which will lead to the back garden. From there, just follow the path. Then you will get to where the carriages are waiting. Get on the Hati carriage and go home. I will handle the rest here. Then you will get to where the carriages are waiting. Get on the Hati carriage and go home. I will handle the rest here. Just remember what I told you, left path stairs garden straight ahead." Anna cried out emotionally, "I cannot do that, Your Highness." "Just remember what I told you, left path stairs garden straight ahead." Anna cried out emotionally. He spoke playfully in a casual tone, as if making small talk. "Don't worry, I always collect my debts. Do you like boat rides?" Anna asked blankly in confusion. "What?" Phien's face suddenly moved close to hers and he whispered softly, "You will have to like it. That is enough now, go." She asked his retreating back in confusion. "What do you mean?" Phien did not answer her question, only urged her to hurry. "Hurry!" Anna quickly left in a flustered rush. After she was gone, Phien's hand reached out for a small vase on the table. He then coldly poured its contents directly onto the head of the pathetic Hanzo lying on the floor. He immediately coughed and sputtered uncomfortably, sitting up and asking, what the hell?" Phien smiled and greeted him. "Hello, Henry. Sorry for being a bit rough." Hanzo clutched his neck, looking ghastly, his eyes wide with shock. "What?" He spoke again, cutting off the man's displeasure. "But you're not dead, so it's fine, right?" Hanzo's face went pale, his body trembling as he cursed. You crazy bastard?" Phien's brows furrowed, his eyes filled with killing intent, and his face darkened. The candlestick in his hand was raised high again. With immense force, the holder swung it down, leaving behind a pained sound. Sounds of a beating echoed in the small room. Phien said nonchalantly, "Now I've added a little extra. Do you think anyone will believe we fought? I mean, do you want people to believe that? You fought a scumbag prince, or you got beaten up by a girl. You know how sharp people's eyes are here, so you'd better play along." Hansen cried out fearfully, stammering broken words. After beating Hansen until his body was stained red with blood, Phien finally stopped, temporarily satisfied. He tossed aside his dirty gloves and let out a tired sigh. At the mansion during a lavish party, Phien, holding the candlestick, went around spreading the news that he had just taken down Henry. As everyone stared in horror, whispers started to ripple through the crowd. "Oh my God, is that blood? Oh heavens. What's going on, princess?" Phien's sharp eyes casually glanced somewhere. Henry, with his battered and trembling body, struggled to walk up behind Phien and stammered, "John, you bastard." Then he collapsed in front of everyone's horrified eyes. Someone recognized him. "Isn't that the Hansen's son?" Phien's aunt rushed over, agitated. Her face pale, she screamed. There she is, shrieking with anger. Amidst the noisy party, the scene changes. Lisa suddenly runs excitedly to Anna's room. She reported the information she had just gathered. "My lady, it's true. They said the golden cup is real." Anna's body went stiff, tears of heartbreak welling up. She fell to her knees and asked dejectedly, "Really, Lisa?" Oblivious to Anna's strange behavior, she casually added, "Yes, in fact, it's a social club tradition. Any gentleman about to be married prepares a golden cup shaped like a deer antler for his bachelor party. During the party, whoever can drink the most wins the cup. And they say he's always the one who wins at every party. So the prince was telling the truth. I don't know what to do now." After rambling on, Lisa suddenly realized something. She turned to Anna and asked curiously, "My lady, by the way, why do you ask? Why are you suddenly so curious about the gentleman's game?" She felt a pang of guilt and quickly made up an excuse. "Oh, I just heard about it at the party and was curious if it was true." Only then did Lisa let go of her suspicion. "Aha, yes. Speaking of which, I heard the royal poison mushroom has caused more trouble recently. Apparently he got himself drunk and started a fight. Such a rotten prodigal son. And here I was thinking things had been quiet lately. Anna suddenly cried out agitatedly, "No, that's not it, Lisa. I mean, he wasn't drunk, I'm sure of it." Lisa, still oblivious to her lady's strange behavior, casually put her hands on her hips and added, "Ah, my lady. You only say that because you don't know much about drunks, but it's also possible the other guy started the fight. No way. No matter how bad the Hansen son is, he can't be worse than the prince. The poison mushroom. Wait a minute, if I think about it, my lady, you've been with the prince all this time." Anna's face darkened, and her expression went rigid, explaining like an emotionless robot. "What, I wasn't with him, I just think it's careless to jump to conclusions like that." Lisa grabbed her shoulders and shook her hard, getting in her face and warning sternly, "My lady, you can't be fooled by his looks. You have to remember this. Poison mushrooms kill people. If you eat one, you die. Okay." Anna broke into a cold sweat, thinking to herself, "You're terrifying," she said weakly. "It's not like that, Lisa." But Lisa completely ignored her explanation and carefully backed away toward the door. Anna let out a long, tired sigh. "Ha, what am I going to do? I owe the prince so much now. I've already searched the promenade thoroughly." Anna let out a long, tired sigh. "Ha, what am I going to do? I owe the prince so much now. I've already searched the promenade thoroughly. I even retraced my steps from that night from the fountain all the way home, but I still couldn't find the cup. Worse than losing the cup, I blamed him and ran away like a coward. Then she worried to herself, what should I do? This much money isn't even enough to buy the tip of a deer antler. Then she worried to herself, what should I do? This much money isn't even enough to buy the tip of a deer antler. She gently touched the item and murmured softly, flower. Somewhere, a carriage rolled down a deserted road. Phien sat pensively in the carriage with his arms crossed, thinking to himself. Summer is passing by peacefully. Fred Bank is steadily establishing its position. And my victory in the horse race was perfectly legitimate. Most importantly, Anna Hardy, there are countless rumors about us, but who cares? Anna Hardy, there are countless rumors about us, but who cares? She'll help me win that huge bet. Phien suddenly frowned as he saw Anna's figure lingering outside. He looked at her suspiciously and called out as if to confirm Anna Hardy, one on the ground and one in the carriage. They just stared at each other, filling the air with a faint, sweet scent. One on the ground and one in the carriage. They just stared at each other, filling the air with a faint, sweet scent. Phien stared at Anna coldly with his arms crossed, but she just awkwardly clutched her package and bowed her head in silence. He broke the strange silence. Aren't you gonna say anything? You look like a walking wedding cake. Speak up. You didn't wait for me just to say nothing, did you? Caught off guard, Anna's face flushed as nervous sweat trickled down her cheeks. She held the large box she was carrying out to him and stammered, First, I wanted to return this, your formal coat. Your Highness. Phien then asked sharply, returning it in person. You have servants for errands like this, don't you? Anna lowered her head and spoke sincerely. Speaking from the heart, she said, I do, but I wanted to return it myself. I wanted to thank you. I'm truly grateful for your help the other day, and I'm also sorry, he asked nonchalantly, his arms still crossed. About what? She immediately blurted out the reason she was there. You were blamed for that incident because of me. I should have been the one to take responsibility for Mr. Henry's injuries. Phien looked up, recalling the incident, and exclaimed, Ah! Well, the rumor about me beating him up isn't exactly wrong. Hearing this, Anna asked in shock, You hit him. But why? Phien stared at her, confused, and answered nonchalantly, Because he deserved it. What do you mean why? Don't you remember what he did to you? In any case, I made him suffer 10 times more than what he did to you, so I can't really say I was wrongly blamed. Anna cried out, Are you all right, your Highness? Are you hurt? Phien crossed his arms, amused. The person who assaulted me the other night is now worried about me. How amusing. Hearing this, Anna stammered, flustered, Well, you see, your Highness. But he continued casually, It's fine. As you can see, I'm perfectly all right, and I wasn't falsely accused either. So there's no need to apologize or thank me. Let's just put this behind us. Is there anything else? Anna quickly rummaged through her bag. Ah yes, there's still this. Phien looked down skeptically. Looking at the item she held out, he gave her a skeptical look, then began to tease her. You're not here to sell flowers, are you? Anna actually answered seriously, I plan to sell them. But not to you, your Highness. I will sell them to pay you back for the cup, I promise. Phien held the flower in his hand, stared at it, then asked indifferently, So you're saying, you're going to sell these to pay me back for something made of gold? She quickly replied with a serious tone, Yes. But he continued, Can you pay me back before I die? Anna leaned forward, her face red, asserting, Of course I can. It might take some time, but my flowers are worth more than you think. Your Highness, it might sound like bragging, but I'm quite good at making artificial flowers. That's because I absolutely love flowers. Phien looked at her agitated state and sighed helplessly. I can see that TSK. Just do as you please, miss. She's completely buried in flowers. I don't think I should be encouraging her. Anna then beamed a radiant smile and exclaimed, Thank you for understanding, your Highness. Please keep that flower as a testament to my promise. Phien's brows furrowed as he stared at Anna, thinking to himself, This woman is always so strange. Leonid shot his brother an irritable glance, grumbling, Why are you so late? Phien casually sat down on the chair. He then slowly explained that something came up. Leonid hurriedly asked, What was it? But he just replied coldly, It's personal. Leonid fell silent, staring at the small flower in Phien's hand. Then he asked curiously, What is that? Leonid recognized it as an orchid. At first glance, he suddenly frowned in annoyance, questioning Phien. Did you happen to run into Gladys? His hand suddenly dropped the flower into the ashtray in front of him. Leonid called out in confusion, Phien, but Phien just stood up casually and suggested they get down to business. Your Highness, for being late, you'll accept a penalty right now. A woman's words echoed in his head. Take care of him, Leonid. Leonid observed Phien, thinking to himself, He's acting a bit suspicious, but I haven't noticed anything wrong yet. Seriously, I don't think that's what a rookie should say to a pro. Phien glanced at him and exclaimed cheerfully, Well now, looks like cards are your specialty. The weight in Leonid's heart was finally lifted. It seems Mother was simply worrying too much. The luxurious mansion was steeped in splendor and opulence, hiding unexpected dark sides within. The next morning, Anna was happily enjoying tea, feeling so relieved. It's thanks to Pavin that I sold those fake flowers. Her eyes softened, her face filled with a surge of warmth. Anna thought happily glad the prince had accepted her flower for his lapel. It would surely look good on him. I can just imagine him wearing it right now. Anna suddenly pictured Lisa's angry face when she learned of her feelings for Phien. Stop it. I told you he was a terrible man, my lady, the gatekeeper of hell. But Anna was lost in her happiness. She calmly took a sip of her tea, then sighed softly. Yes, I agree, Lisa. He's a bad person, he's terrible, but he's also kind. Anna's gaze, full of complex emotions, was fixed on her teacup. Her teacup was now empty, and she was lost in thought. Unnoticed, Lisa had appeared right in front of her. Lisa excitedly announced, I'm back, my lady. Why are you smiling all by yourself? She jumped, replying guiltily. Oh, Lisa, welcome back. Lisa happily showed off a full pouch of money. She came up to her and said happily, Look, they paid even more than last week. They were all impressed with your work, my lady. They also said you're great at making flowers. Anna, catching her cheerful mood, gently poured her some tea. Then she turned to her and said, Thank you for your help, Lisa. I couldn't have managed it all by myself. Lisa sat down, took a satisfying sip of hot tea, and humbly disagreed with Anna. Don't say that even though I helped make the flowers, mine could never compare to yours, my lady. Even after learning from you, I'm just so grateful that you pay me, my lady. Anna didn't hold back her praise. It's because you do such a good job. Lisa seemed energized by the words. She became enthusiastic. You're an angel, aren't you, my lady? Let's work hard and make even more next week. Anna laughed at her determination. You're so full of spirit, ha ha ha. The next morning, a servant's voice repeatedly called Anna's name in a hurry. Miss Anna, where are you? The master has been looking for you. Anna, confused, exclaimed, Father, I wonder what he wants. But elsewhere, a dignified woman entered amidst the respectful bows of the servants. The queen has arrived. Seeing her, Phien asked with a bewildered and innocent expression, Mother, why did you suddenly come here? I was about to win some pocket money, but I'm sure you didn't come to congratulate me on that. The queen coldly remarked, No need to pay the fees. The other person immediately bowed respectfully and replied, Yes, your majesty. The queen's gaze turned to Phien. She said in a stern voice, Johnny Esther, would you like to explain this to me? His eyes widened in shock as he picked up the newspaper. He carefully read the contents written about him by an anonymous source. Present at Marchioness Haver's party. That night, Prince John was secretly meeting a beautiful aristocratic lady, but the drunken prince assaulted her. A brawl then broke out when a witness happened to pass by and tried to stop him. Phien thought angrily, was this Henry's doing? I should have broken his jaw that night, not just punched his face. But the biggest issue here is not the prince's one-sided attack. Some believe the cause of the fight that night was the promiscuity of that mysterious woman. She is also the subject of many rumors and scandals. But that rumor says that the biggest obstacle preventing Princess Gladys and Prince John from reuniting is none other than Lady Anna. As for the royal poison mushroom, will he become a victim of a cunning woman's scheme to become the Princess of Austria? The people of Latran pray that Prince John apologizes to Princess Gladys and remarries her, thus becoming a model member of the royal family. Thus, the subjects of Latran hope that their plea will overcome the castle walls. Phien put the newspaper down on the table, suggesting casually without a hint of fear, Do you think we should build the castle walls higher, or should we just buy this damn newspaper? Hearing his dismissive words, the queen questioned him angrily. Is that all you have to say? Why are you closing your eyes? He placed a hand gently on the stack of books before him. This wasn't the first time papers like this had been published. There's no reason to take it so seriously. Besides, the more the public criticizes the former crown prince, the more credible Leonid will become. So please don't worry too much about this. She was serious, fixing her sharp gaze on him. Then she slowly explained, I'm not worried about Leonid, but about you, my beloved firstborn son. I don't want to use you to enhance the royal family's reputation. You've already sacrificed enough. Phien's attitude remained as cold and indifferent as ever, the queen added emotionally. I just want you to be happy, John. He forced a cheerful smile and tried to reassure her. I am content with how things are, mother. Meanwhile, at Anna's family mansion, she stood politely before her father. Father, you sent for me. But Arian didn't let her explain immediately, scolding and accusing her. You cheap hussy. You said you left the Haver party early because you were sick. How dare you lie to us with that innocent face? You cheap hussy. You said you left the Haver party early because you were sick. How dare you? She stammered, Father. He shoved the newspaper in her face, demanding angrily. Is this article true? Are you really involved with the Grand Duke of Austria? The newspaper, a complete distortion of that day's events, was thrust before her eyes by the furious Arian. Is this article true? Are you really involved with the Grand Duke of Austria? The article was a complete distortion of what happened. Are you serious about the daughter of House HD? Tell me the truth so I can discuss it with your father. But he just coldly took a sip of his wine, then scoffed. Anna HD, give me a break. She frowned and questioned him. If not, then what do you intend to do about the damage to Lady Anna's reputation after this incident? Phien just shook his head irresponsibly. I don't know. Anna was now facing an inexplicable situation. She stared in confusion at the newspaper at her feet. I was with him, but that. Arian's hand rose forcefully with all his might. Along with his cold words, the devastating slap landed. A blow Anna had to painfully endure. But he was relentless. The Viscountess rushed forward, grabbing Arian's shoulder tightly and loudly, stopping the second slap. He's about to strike again. Dear, calm down. No matter how angry you are, you shouldn't do this. She has a party to attend tomorrow. Anna sat crumpled on the cold, hard floor, looking pitiful. Arian angrily turned to her and yelled, A rumor party. She's a shameless tramp. He's about to strike again. Dear, calm down. No matter how angry you are, you shouldn't do this. The girl has a party to attend tomorrow. Anna sat crumpled on the cold ground. Looking pitiful, Arian angrily turned to her and yelled, A rumor party. She's a shameless tramp. It's spreading everywhere now. What's the point of sending her to those parties now, huh? You've only just come of age and you're already causing scandals. It seems you don't know your place. And now you've been so foolish, causing us to lose out on a massive bridal gift. He was planning to sell his own daughter. I knew exactly what everyone was whispering behind my back. I just didn't believe it. I couldn't believe he could be that cruel. After all, every parent's hope is to see their children married when they come of age. I thought my father wanted the same. Of course, I thought he might just be selfishly trying to atone for abandoning me. But even so, I wanted to give him a chance to be my father, so I could cherish the memory of this happy time. I was so stupid, so pathetic. Is this why you wanted me to stay here for a year, in exchange for saving the house? It was just to sell me off, wasn't it? They immediately turned pale, startled by Anna's accurate accusations. With her swollen face, she defiantly lifted her head and voiced all of her pent-up frustrations. All these years, you've only ever seen me as a product to be sold to the highest bidder, haven't you? But Arian shamelessly broke into a smug smile and said, "You must have forgotten that you were the one who agreed to this. Did you really think staying here for a year would be enough to pay for the Vaden house? If so, those cranky old folks raised a complete fool." Anna angrily warned him not to insult them, that he had no right. But Arian remained arrogant. He pointed a finger at her chest and threatened, "Wrong. I have every right because I am your father. In fact, you should be grateful I'm trying to find you a good husband. Otherwise, you'd be doomed to live as a spinster in that tiny village. So stop causing trouble and behave yourself. If you dare pull something like this again, I'll sell that little house of yours without a second thought." That threat finally got to Anna. "You can't do that. You promised. How could you threaten me so cowardly?" The stepmother quickly grabbed Arian's hand as he moved to strike Anna again. "Dear, please stop." He could only throw the newspaper on the ground in front of her and warn, "Think carefully before you do anything." Seeing him about to charge at Anna again, she cried, "Dear, please stop." He could only. Baven stood before the mansion, letting out a tired sigh and thinking to himself, "Today was exhausting. I know I'm a patron, but dealing with those flowers is exhausting. Still, it's a relief that Count Lehman's second daughter liked my painting. It made the evening at this grand mansion even more beautiful." Baven stood before the mansion. Baven asked himself with a heavy heart, "But dealing with those flowers is exhausting. Still, it's a relief that Count Lehman's second daughter liked my painting. He paid well for the painting, too." But he lowered his head gloomily, his eyes troubled. Baven asked himself with a heavy heart, "Of all people, why Anna? I can't believe she was there in the 5th row, becoming the wife of Count Lehman. Not to mention all the vicious rumors about her that every single noble is repeating. Everyone defends Princess Gladys and criticizes Anna, the old count, the debauched playboys, and even that poison mushroom prince. Every time I think about those awful people taking advantage of her, my blood boils." Baven thought to himself, slowly forming a perfect plan. "I can't just stand by and watch this happen. I have to help Anna escape that house. But if she goes back to Bilford, can she return to her old, peaceful life? Probably not. Viscount HD is in too deep. He'll never let Anna go that easily. Everything is so complicated." As he was walking, he suddenly saw Anna's figure huddled in front of his door, clearly distressed. Baven's eyes widened in surprise. He peered closer to confirm who it was, and her face came into view. Sensing someone approaching, Anna quickly looked up at him with her swollen face. Let's go back in time a bit. 1 hour earlier, John was on the terrace smoking a cigarette. He was surprised to see a girl below. It was Anna, standing hesitantly in the courtyard, not daring to go inside. John then took out his watch and checked the time. He mused to himself, it's far too late for a lady to be out walking without a single servant. The recent scandal has made her the new target of high society. Things must be chaotic in the HD house." Anna suddenly looked up toward John, her pretty face now swollen like a small dumpling. He held Anna's gaze, not looking away. For some reason, Anna suddenly snapped her head away. John wondered in confusion. "She smiled when we made eye contact at the party. Where is she running? That's not the way to the HD mansion." "Well, it's none of my business anyway." A warm cup of tea was placed in Anna's hands, chasing away the chill. "Was that the prince just now? Of all the times for him to see me. Thank you, Baven. I'm sorry to bother you. You're the only person I could turn to." Baven stood before her with a radiant smile. "You did the right thing. I told you before to come to me whenever you needed help. Anna, do you want to go back to Bilford?" Something flickered in Anna's wide eyes, and she seemed to waver. Baven waited silently with downcast eyes for her answer. She suddenly blushed and lowered her head, speaking in a tiny voice. "I want to, but I can't right now. If I don't stick to the agreement, he'll sell the Vaden house." Baven blankly repeated the strange word she'd just said. "Agreement? To do whatever your father says and get married. It's clearly a transaction, but you can't stay at the HD house any longer." Anna gloomily nodded her small head. "I know. I can't do anything but smile and nod. When father tries to sell me off, no matter what, I need to find a solution." Before that happens, Baven looked at her, his expression pained by her tragic fate. He suddenly pulled her into a hug, then asked Anna, "Why don't you just give up the house?" Anna looked up, agitated, and explained, "But if I do that, we'll have nowhere else to go." Baven looked gently into her eyes and said sincerely, "I'll help you. I'm getting paid for a painting at the end of the month. It's not much, but it's enough for your family to rent a house in the countryside." But Anna adamantly refused. "I can't let you do that." He quickly reassured her, "Don't worry, I'm only lending it to you. I understand how precious the Vaden house is to you. I'm getting paid for a painting. It's not much, but it will be enough for your family to rent a house in the countryside. And I'm sure Baroness Vaden would feel the same. You can pay me back slowly once you're settled, so don't worry about it. I'm only lending it to you. I understand how precious that Vaden house is to you. Your father will try to marry you off before this autumn ends. Realistically, you won't be able to save enough money to settle your family by then. Anna still hesitated, clutching her teacup, but he cut through her hesitation with a decisive tone. The important thing now is to focus on getting away from your father. So let's do this, okay, Anna? Anna HD vanished without a trace. The chatter about her whereabouts gradually became the latest piece of gossip for everyone to discuss. Your father will try to marry you off before this autumn ends. Realistically, you won't be able to save enough money to settle down first. Please, who would believe that? Honestly, nobody would care if something happened to a girl like her. Ha ha ha, that's right. The brown-haired guy sighed dejectedly, wondering, if she doesn't show up for the boat race, what happens to our bet? Anna HD vanished without a trace. The talk about her whereabouts gradually became mere gossip. But if she's really sick, she couldn't go even if she wanted to, right? The brown-haired guy took another sip of tea, then spoke as if he knew it all. Please, she's not sick, she's just laying low for a few days after that scandal. John's hand, about to bite an apple, froze mid-air. He suddenly fell silent, not moving at all. Ha ha ha, that's right, the brown-haired guy sighed dejectedly, wondering if on the day of the ghost boat race. He may be a fool, but he would have to be insane to show his face to you. Their words immediately fell silent. Come on, she'll definitely show up. It's the biggest event of the summer after all. But if she's really sick, then she couldn't go even if she wanted to, right? The brown-haired guy took another sip of tea, then spoke as if he knew it all. Please, she's not sick. She's just laying low for a few days after the scandal. John's hand, about to bite an apple, suddenly froze mid-air. He suddenly fell silent, not making any other movement. Seeing Beyoncé constantly staring at the door with anticipation, her friends grew impatient and called out, "Come on, Beyoncé, staring at the door won't do any good. He may be a fool, but unless he's insane, he wouldn't dare show his face to you." Their words immediately fell silent. Just then, the door opened and in walked none other than Hansel, his entire body pitifully bruised. "Well, look what we have here," John quickly mocked him out loud, "you sick bastard." John immediately got up and slowly walked towards Hansen, standing coldly with his hands on his hips. Looking down at Hansen's punchable face, he growled, "Long time no see, Hansen." Seeing the confrontation between the two, the people in the tavern turned pale and stared. Meanwhile, John casually sat down next to Hansen. Even though he was frozen with fear, John mockingly rested his chin on his hand, looking at Hansen, then offered him the bottle of wine. How about a drink in this warm space, filled with the dim, flickering candlelight? The faint aroma of wine wafted from a nearby glass as a deep voice spoke slowly and firmly. "That woman seduced me first." Bien sat leisurely, leaning back in his chair, his tone even yet sharp. "Then I found out that besides me, she was also messing around with the Grand Duke. She was the cause of the fight between us. This whole mess, that treacherous woman is the one who should be held responsible." Hearing those words, Hansel froze. His eyes flashed with intense emotion, and his lips were sealed shut, unable to speak. Blonde continued, as if recalling a memory that felt strange even to him. Was that really how it was that day? "I remember it a bit differently, which is confusing. Have you been telling this story to everyone? Were you planning to avoid me for the rest of your life? If so, that's truly disappointing." His hand suddenly landed on Hansen's shoulder. The sudden touch made him flinch, and his breath hitched. Trembling, Hansen gritted his teeth and spoke. "What do you want to say?" The air grew heavy, yet his face remained calm. His calm voice was like a whisper. "It's nothing important." Having said that, he slowly stood up. It looked like he was about to leave. Henry glanced over and sighed wearily to himself. Is he gone? But in the next second, his head was violently jerked back, his eyes wide with horror. Instantly, he and the chair lost balance and crashed onto the cold stone floor. Brown, calm as an onlooker, picked up the wine bottle, his voice clear with every word, cutting like a knife. "According to you, we are rivals, fighting over a woman, aren't we? So I think I should treat you as such." He leaned down and firmly planted his long leg on Henry's chest, suffocating him. Henry gritted his teeth, hissing through the pain and anger. "Blonde, you." Blonde gave a slight smirk. A smile like a cold blade. "Don't you know? This is how I treat my enemies." The wine bottle tilted, and the shimmering golden liquid gushed onto Hansen's face. The strong liquor mixed with his desperate screams, shaking the entire room as everyone watched. They stood agape in shock. Hansen's screams finally stopped, but John didn't even flinch. He just smiled calmly as if enjoying a dull pastime, continuing to shake out every last drop. When the bottle was empty, he placed it on the table, slowly ran a hand through his messy hair, and walked away. Each move was casual, as if nothing had happened. Behind him, Henry coughed and choked repeatedly. He choked out a hateful curse at that madman. The wooden door opened to a light flurry of snowflakes outside. The contrast between the strong smell of alcohol inside and the freezing winter sky outside was like two separate worlds. John's sturdy figure walked towards the waiting carriage as he thought to himself, "Such a fool, only knows how to talk behind people's backs, but I must admit his antics are quite amusing." at unexpected times, sitting in the carriage. Suddenly, John saw something outside, a girl in a simple blue dress, holding a large bundle. He recognized her as the maid from the theater, walking alone in the lightly falling snow. She clutched the bundle tightly, walking forward step by step, but elsewhere, in a quiet place. A red flower with a purple center rested in her pale hand. Anna was holding the flower. Staring at the flower, Lisa stood nearby with a flicker of worry on her face, but Anna's expression remained calm and unreadable. Focused on adjusting the flowers she had just made, Lisa gently called out, "My lady, please rest for a while." Below were various colorful artificial flowers she had made herself. Hearing this, Anna paused and replied gently, "It's fine. Focusing on small tasks like this keeps me from being bored." Lisa looked a little sad at her words, hugging a pile of flowers. "I'm about to deliver flowers to the shops, my lady. Please rest, at least until I return." After Lisa left, Anna sat silently on the bed, her face somber and her eyes lost in thought. The room seemed to grow quiet along with the thoughts in her mind. Her face was somber, her eyes lost in thought. The space around her seemed to fall silent, along with the thoughts flashing through her mind. 2 weeks. In 2 more weeks, I can return to Bilford with Pavin. She told herself, how shameless of me. But right now, I have no choice but to accept his help. My father was tricked, lost a huge investment, and our finances became unstable. To regain his wealth, he's trying to sell his own daughter to the highest bidder. If only I had tried, I might have uncovered this petty scheme. It all comes back in painful fragments. The swindler tricked my father, and my father tricked me. Her self-recriminations echoed in her mind, but I'm just a fool being eaten at the bottom of the food chain. This petty scheme, and everything comes back in painful fragments. The swindler tricked my father, and my father tricked me. Her self-blaming thoughts echoed, but I'm just a fool being devoured at the bottom of the food chain. It's so frustrating. I'm so sad. I can't even imagine what grandfather, how he would feel if he saw all this. At that thought, tears streamed from the corners of Anna's eyes. Her body trembled with emotion, but he's gone now. I'll leave my naivety and complacency behind and get out of here. As the thought ended, she jumped to her feet. Just then, Lisa rushed in, throwing the door open. Her voice was urgent. "My lady." Lisa's face was pale, her eyes filled with fear. At that moment, Lisa rushed in, the door flying open. Her voice was urgent. "My lady." Lisa's face was pale, her eyes filled with fear. Her voice trembled. "What are we going to do? A message has arrived from Super Castle." "My lady." Lisa rushed forward and grabbed her arm. "The Queen. The Queen says she wants to see you in a few minutes." Anna, in an exquisitely detailed princess dress, looked gorgeous and radiant. She gently approached the tea table where the Queen was sitting. Suddenly, Anna's expression froze. In an exquisitely detailed princess dress, Anna looked gorgeous and radiant. She gently approached the tea table where the Queen was sitting. Suddenly, Anna's expression froze. Inside the carriage, Brown and Leonid sat opposite each other. John's face was somber, his gaze distant as he looked through the misty glass window. He let out a soft sigh. The brilliant sunset glowed below the gates of the magnificent mansion with its intricate carvings. The carriage slowly rolled away, flanked by 2 rows of guards in solemn uniforms who bowed slightly in farewell. Inside the carriage, Brown and Leonid sat facing each other. John's face was somber, his gaze distant as he looked through the misty glass window. He let out a soft sigh. In his mind, familiar words echoed. "John, please visit the Arsenal household with Leonard." Thinking of how much grandmother dotes on her grandchild, once my composed mother gives an order, the wisest thing is simply to obey. No complaining, it's grandmother's wish. I know perfectly well how Duchess Arsenal treasures her first grandchild. Of course, she also clearly demonstrated how deep love can turn into terrible hatred. After divorcing Gladys, she refused to even look at me for a whole year. Even so, she allowed me to visit at the beginning of the 2nd year, and since late last winter, she has kindly let me sit at the same table. However, the condition was that I could not sit opposite her, and thus we would not speak. A flicker of an indescribable emotion flashed in John's distant gaze. I wonder if she will refuse to see me for another year once the rumors about me and Anna reach her ears. Leonard sat opposite, his eyes on him, but he was thinking to himself that he wanted to suggest, "Let's tell grandmother the truth." But I know what John says to those outside the royal family. Only 3 people know about that incident, our parents and me. If I adamantly refuse to take the position of crown prince, in the end, I'm not sure if John will tell me the truth, that we are twins. But my brother is very cruel. If it were me, I would never dare to do the things John does. His extreme indifference, coupled with a sense of responsibility, makes him hard to trust, yet just kind enough. It is hard to believe these contradictory feelings can exist in one person. Oh well, whatever. Breaking from his thoughts, he raised his book to read. As for John, he still sat solemnly in deep thought, arms crossed. The entire sky was painted in the vibrant orange of sunset, inside the slowly moving carriage. A voice suddenly broke the silence. "If I had not passed by today, what were you planning to do?" Hearing herself mentioned, Anna was slightly startled. Blonde sat opposite, his gaze fixed on her. Immediately, Anna gave a small smile and replied softly, "I would have come out to wait again tomorrow. After all, there is only one road from the city to the castle. Figuring that person would cross that bridge at least once." Yes, I see. Blonde mused for a moment, saying nothing. As she was about to get out of the carriage, Blonde spoke again. Are you sure you do not need me to take you home? No need, I can just hail a carriage. After Anna left, he thought to himself. She looked so proud when she said she knew how to hail a carriage. Then he was lost in thought. A smile appeared on his lips, its emotion unclear. On the wide, sturdy bridge spanning the turquoise water, a busy stream of carriages flowed amidst the noise. Spanning sturdily over the turquoise water, a busy stream of carriages flowed amidst the noise. John's eyes unconsciously followed, and in another carriage, Anna was sitting. She was wearing a sweet pink dress. The moment he saw her, a glint of light flashed in John's eyes. It was hard to name, both confused and profound. Back to that moment, Anna was also slightly startled. Her big, round, clear blue eyes widened, her surprised gaze fixed on the figure sitting in front of her. Anna slowly walked towards the tea table, where someone was waiting. Opposite her, a stunningly beautiful woman sat majestically. When her eyes landed on Anna, she spoke, "Hello, Miss Hattie. First, please sit and have some tea." Anna froze slightly, her heart suddenly pounding. She cried out in surprise in her mind, "It is really the Queen." Then, she bowed her head shyly and replied, "Yes, yes, Your Majesty." The Queen's face became slightly stern. Her eyes rested on the timid figure, silently weighing her options. Silent judgments about Anna HD passed through her mind. Her eyes rested on the timid figure, silently considering her judgments about Anna. Her appearance now is quite different from when I saw her at the nobles' party a few days ago. Her appearance now is quite different from when I saw her at the nobles' party a few days ago. I had someone investigate her. Although she bears the surname Hadi, this girl was raised by the Barden family. But if she grew up in a family with such a clean reputation, she probably does not know what rumors are like. But if she grew up in a family with such a clean reputation, she probably does not know what rumors are like. Breaking from her thoughts, the Queen spoke softly, her tone both authoritative and calm. "Miss Hattie, what is your relationship with John?" Hearing this question, Anna immediately froze, her eyes wide with a flustered expression. "What?" The Queen's lips curved into a faint smile, but her eyes held something deep and unfathomable. She continued, each word slow and firm, saying, "Let me hear what happened between you two, Miss Hattie. You had best be honest with me." Anna was startled by the question, letting out a soft gasp of surprise. The Queen's voice was calm yet powerful. "So, it was to pay back the money for the deer antler trophy. You decided to make and sell artificial flowers, yes, and Bjorn agreed. Is that right, Bjorn? Did he really agree? Yes." Hearing that, the Queen suddenly laughed. It was not a loud laugh, but it made Anna feel flustered, not understanding what she was thinking. Strangely enough, after that, the Queen did not ask me any more questions about the prince. We only talked about trivial things. In fact, no one mentioned the prince until I left the castle. Did I explain it well? I do not know. By the time she arrived, Anna was exhausted, her face pale. Her lips moved slightly before her whole body went limp and collapsed. "I am home." Lisa, beside her, was terrified and caught her. "Miss," Anna thought to herself, "if grandmother knew I went to see the Queen, she would definitely be very surprised. I want to write a letter to her right away, but she will be sad if she knows the meeting was because of the rumors about me and the prince." The Queen seemed rather strict and cold, but also warm, and her shimmering light blonde hair and sharp yet delicate features were just like the prince's. As night fell, the bright full moon shone everywhere, highlighting the majestic white mansion against the quiet night sky. Time passed gently, and a new day arrived. A brilliant blue sky stretched over the lavish grounds of the magnificent mansion. In a lush corner of the garden, vibrant trees cast their reflections on the clear water. Exquisitely set tea tables were arranged in the serene scenery, where nobles had gathered. Stretching across the lavish land, within the splendid grounds of the mansion, in a lush corner of the garden, vibrant trees cast their reflections on the clear water, and exquisitely set tea tables were arranged in the serene scenery, where nobles had gathered. Look, there she is. Anna HD has finally appeared. Opposite her stood John, his gaze stern. Somewhere in a corner, a blonde young woman turned her head slightly, her curious and scrutinizing eyes directed at Anna. Seeing him, Anna bowed her head slightly. Look, there she is. Anna has finally appeared. Opposite her stood John, his gaze stern. Somewhere in a corner, a blonde young woman turned her head slightly, her curious and scrutinizing eyes directed at Anna. Seeing Anna, she bowed her head slightly. The gesture was both gentle and polite. Opposite her, Brown immediately responded with a formal bow. At that very moment, an excited voice echoed through the garden. "The boat race will begin now." On the vast blue water, boats were already anchored, glistening in the sunday. The participating teams were boarding their boats one by one, gripping their oars with eager faces. As if just waiting for the signal to plunge into the dramatic race. The sky had now turned a brilliant orange, the sunset light spreading like molten gold over the entire scene. All around, nobles in magnificent outfits gathered in crowds. The sound of chatter and laughter filled the lively scene. A girl with silky golden hair gently raised her wineglass, her steps slow and graceful. Ceaseless whispers rose like cold needles aimed straight at one person. Look, she actually came. How could she be so shameless as to show up here after causing such a scandal? Seeing his friend walk away, Luis cried out in alarm, Gladys, where are you going? I'm just going to say hello, Luis. Don't! Why would you go and greet that woman? It will be less awkward this way. I can't just ignore the lady. Lady Singh, are you going to stay like that? Hello, Lady Singh. That call made Anna flinch slightly. Hurriedly looking up, she saw the woman slowly approaching. Seeing that figure come closer, a name immediately flashed in Anna's mind, Princess Gladys. Gladys's gentle and clear voice rang out like a melody at the party. We haven't had a proper chance to be introduced. It's a pleasure to meet you. Around them, the guests' eyes were fixed on the two, and the rising whispers made the atmosphere heavy. Anna remained silent, her calm gaze fixed on the other woman, but her lips remained tightly sealed, uttering no words. Seeing her silence, her calm gaze fixed on the other woman, but her lips remained tightly sealed, uttering no words. Seeing her silence, a polite voice sounded, I am very honored to meet you, Your Highness. In her mind, a series of thoughts swirled. This must be because of the prince. She was the prince's wife. There's no way she doesn't know about the rumor. First the queen, and now Princess Gladys. Just how big has this rumor gotten anyway? Meanwhile, Gladys remained calm and did not reply immediately. Her eyes flickered towards Beyoncé, who was standing silently in the crowd. In that moment, a cold thought flashed through Gladys's mind. Beyoncé, he's just watching as if this were a play. How pitiful. She doesn't even know she's being used by me. Cutting off the thought, Gladys spoke in a clear voice. Lady Singh, I hear you don't belong to any clubs. You must feel quite lonely. By the way, are you interested in the theater? My theater club is preparing a play. By the way, are you interested in the theater? My theater club is preparing a play. It's to raise donations for the city nursery, and it's scheduled to be held in 10 days. Anna lowered her head slightly, her expression clearly flustered. A hesitant sound escaped her trembling lips. Gladys's eyes curved slightly, a gentle smile playing on her lips as she waited for an answer. But in the next moment, Anna spoke, her voice low and decisive. I'm terribly sorry, Your Highness. Anna spoke, her voice low and decisive. I'm terribly sorry, Your Highness. The refusal made the atmosphere freeze. Gladys's blue eyes widened in astonishment, as if she couldn't believe she had heard correctly. Anna calmly continued, her voice gentle yet firm. I truly appreciate your thoughtfulness, but unfortunately I cannot attend the play. The people around have started to talk. I am truly sorry. Having said that, she gave a proper, light bow. Immediately, whispers rose from the crowd. Hateful words were spoken. Oh my God, did you just see that? Lady Singh rejected Princess Gladys's invitation. How insolent, and in front of everyone like this. Whispers erupted all around. The words hit Anna's ears like a cold knife, making her freeze as confusion welled up inside her. What's going on? Everyone is talking. Did I make a mistake? Is it considered a breach of social etiquette to refuse an invitation from a high-ranking lady? But I'm sure I've never heard of a rule like that. Anna glanced worriedly at Gladys. The young princess before her was so flustered, her shoulders trembled slightly, her face flushed with shame. That embarrassed expression threw Anna's heart into further turmoil, each rapid beat urging her to say something. What should I do? But I'm leaving next week. I can't lie. And say I can attend an event in 10 days. I thought that would be even ruder, which is why I refused. The thought flashed through her mind. And in her panic, Anna immediately spoke, her voice trembling and rushed. Your Highness, the thing is, just as Anna was flustered, a tall figure suddenly appeared right behind her, his footsteps steady and calm. His imposing presence seemed to make time stand still. Gladys flinched slightly, her brows furrowing, her heart constricted in her chest, while Anna, feeling the breath close behind her, turned around. Seeing the familiar face, a flash of surprise lit up her eyes, while a faint smile appeared on Brown's lips. His gaze was fixed on Anna's face. Prince Brown gently placed a firm hand on her shoulder. In a calm yet commanding voice, he asked, Are you finished with Lady Singh? The question made Gladys speechless. Her lips trembled as she hesitantly replied softly, As soon as the word left her lips, tears welled in the corners of the princess's eyes. Her whole body trembled as if she would shatter from humiliation. Blonde said sternly, Then I will be taking her with me. As she was pulled away, Anna cried out in confusion, Wait, Your Highness, I was speaking with Princess Gladys. The princess said she was finished. Night fell, casting a quiet shadow on the still water, as boats glided gently across its surface. In rhythm with the wind, Anna stood silently watching the scenery, her delicate figure seeming to melt into the night. She spoke softly, her voice quiet but filled with concern. Do you think I was rude to the princess? Blonde closed his eyes, a thought suddenly occurring to him. So she's still thinking about it. He then replied, You decided to go against Gladys's wishes, and without any preparation for it. Brown's words made Anna immediately react. Her voice rushed in self-defense. Go against her wishes? I've never heard someone refuse an invitation so immediately. That much is true. But I didn't mean to be impolite. Oh, by the way, is it considered bad manners here to refuse an invitation from someone of higher status? No, it's not exactly a rule, but considering Gladys's position, I'd say it's an unwritten law. Making an enemy of her is basically making an enemy of every other lady in high society. I think it's an unwritten rule. Becoming her enemy basically means making yourself. Hearing that, Anna's face fell, her eyes sad and her voice trembling. I only meant that I couldn't attend the play. Really? John's eyes flickered. Then he leaned in, his tone sharp. Why? Is some engagement ceremony more important than an invitation from the princess? As he asked this, Anna began to hesitate. She wrung her hands, her mind in chaos. I know I should keep it a secret, but I still want to tell the prince the truth. She wrung her hands, her mind in chaos, knowing she should keep it a secret. I don't want him to think I'm a rude and improper lady. Besides, I still owe him a debt. He did that for me. I don't want him to think that I'm a rude lady. Her voice continued, I will be returning to Bilford to be with my family. For that reason, it would be a lie to say I could attend the event in 10 days, and I didn't want to do that. Then, Brion became quiet again and asked, why didn't you just tell Gladys that? I can't. Brion glanced over, thinking to himself, goodness, that was startling. Anna hurriedly explained, I can't tell her because it's a secret. It has to be. I need to leave as quietly as possible, so please, you must keep this a secret too. Are you planning to run away in the middle of the night? Hearing this, Anna remained silent, her face lowered in a tacit admission. Seeing her reaction, he was slightly surprised. What's this? For real? Then, a smile appeared on his lips. But I need to leave as quietly as possible, so you must also keep this a secret. Are you planning to run away in the middle of the night or something? Hearing this, Anna remained silent, her face lowered in a tacit admission. Ah, and on top of that, she's planning to fool everyone, not just Viscount Singh. The one dreaming of getting rich again by selling his daughter, but also all the old men eager to buy a beauty on the cheap. And the audience that's all fired up for this ridiculous matchmaking. What's so amusing? John's thoughts continued. It seems she's not a weak woman. Naive? And on top of that, she's planning to fool everyone, not just Viscount Singh. The one dreaming of getting rich again by selling his daughter, and all the old men buying a beauty at a cheap price. And all the audience members ready to go off online about this ridiculous matchmaking. What's so funny? John's thoughts flickered. It seems she's not the weak type of woman. Ridiculous. What's so funny about this? John's thoughts flickered. It seems she's not the weak type of woman, helplessly seducing men, or perhaps not even weak and timid. She's actually quite bold and adorable. He stopped laughing and asked, a tear from laughing still in the corner of his eye, but why would you tell me this important secret? What if I ruin your plan? Milady, Anna was slightly surprised. Right after, she answered gently, I know you would never do that. As her words fell, the atmosphere became silent. The two looked at each other quietly. Brown's deep voice broke the silence. Is that so? You think you know me? Milady. Hearing that, Anna said no more, just bowed her head slightly, her eyes revealing an indescribable emotion. Brown looked over. He thought to himself, is it a family tradition to put their trust in the wrong person? Suddenly, Anna spoke up and Anna's voice was steady. Even if I leave Subo, I will still pay off my debt to you. I swear on my family name. Vaden is the name again. Right after, Brown looked over, a faint smile on his lips. Do you want me to erase that debt? Let's make a new deal. The sky was tinged with pink and purple over the calm water. John and Anna sat together on a small boat, cruising on the water. In a corner, the losers stood muttering to each other. So she fell for his handsome face. In the end, a handsome face still wins it all. John and Anna were like a living painting in that space. On the shore, the blonde man cried out in tears. Who let him join the bet? Does he need a mirror? Me? Milady? But I'm not an AI. How would I know? Who would have thought he'd win this kind of bet as easily as flipping his hand? The man next to him replied, that makes sense. He's serious when it comes to money, but he doesn't usually join bets like this. People often criticize him for being a playboy, but we know the truth. In reality, John isn't that interested when it comes to women. He might not refuse women who throw themselves at him, but he has never gone out of his way to seduce one. So it's hard to believe he divorced Gladys because he cheated. Before he could finish, the blonde man immediately cut him off. Could you please stop your personality analysis while I'm being sad? Finally, the brown-haired man calmly uttered a sentence. What if John is serious about her? Instantly, those around who heard it froze, completely stiff, frozen solid. Laughter broke out. What? Are you crazy? The world probably stopped for a second when you said that. That's impossible, unless he's gone mad. Under the clear blue water, the entire space seemed to contain only the boat of. John and Anna glided gently on the water. The light from the lanterns reflected on the surface, making the scene even more. Anna was a little shy, her gaze falling on the person opposite her. Blonde in a suit rowed the boat intently, his eyes focused. Then Anna lowered her head slightly. Her eyes were tinged with sadness as she fell into thought. It must be the power of the debt, even though I know it. Doing this will only make the rumors worse, but I still couldn't refuse if my grandmother were here to see this now. She would probably think her granddaughter is crossing a river of fire to get to hell. He turned back. His deep, warm voice rang out. Do you want me to erase that debt? Let's make a new deal. All you have to do is give me the chance to enjoy the night sky on the Abid River with you, if you agree. I will erase the entire debt. What do you say, milady? Anna was stunned, her eyes wide with surprise. Finally, her small hand rested on his. Just this once. Let's do this just once. On the strings, the lanterns were hung meticulously. It emitted brilliant rays of light in the dark night. Anna sat on the boat, admiring the surrounding scenery. Anna's eyes widened in amazement at the lights and colors spreading around her, stunned to witness such a magnificent sight. In my life. From here, the lights on the river look so beautiful. I've never experienced a night this dazzling. It's as if I'm drifting in another world, as if everything that has happened up to this point. It was all just a dream. John's face was contemplative, radiating a cold beauty. His gray eyes quietly fell on the person opposite him. Anna was eagerly admiring the scenery, the lights from the lanterns hazy in the vast black canvas. As if realizing someone was looking at her, Anna turned her gaze to the person opposite her. She met his deep gaze, staring intently at her. The whole space seemed to fall silent, with only the two of them on that boat. Meeting his gaze, Anna's face flushed red. She let out a small gasp, then quickly lowered her head in embarrassment. Then, she carefully spoke each word as if to break the awkward silence. "Your Highness, you're very good at rowing." Blonde still replied calmly, "Is that so? I think you could even be a competitive rower. Just like His Highness the Crown Prince. It seems the prince really likes rowing, and doesn't mind competing with beast-like men. It's terrifying, and the smell too. But you really don't like animals. I heard you like horse racing. In horse racing competitions, you're always outstanding. Horses are indeed lovely, but it's sad for them to be compared to those horrifying men." Suddenly, John spoke up, his voice extremely gentle. "Milady. So you've been secretly investigating me." Immediately, Anna was startled, her face turning an unusual shade of red. Anna began to explain awkwardly. "That is, I apologize, Your Highness. Please forgive my impertinence." John smiled faintly and said, "What impertinence? To be fair, tell me about your home, Burford. Do they have festivals like this there?" "Ah, yes, they do, but they're not as big and grand as this one. My grandparents don't like noisy places, so I've never been, and it's held quite far away. Instead, on the day of the summer festival, my family enjoys dinner in the garden, setting the dining table under a giant mistletoe tree. And we make all sorts of dishes. Every year, my grandmother brews rose wine. We always have to open that wine at the dinner party." Her voice was steady. "At 56, my grandmother let me try the beautifully colored wine. I had always wanted to try it once. But the first time I drank it." Anna gave a bright, relaxed smile. Brown listened quietly, deep in thought. "How interesting. Why this ballad?" Breaking from his thoughts, he praised her. "That sounds like a wonderful festival." Yes, it was just a compliment, but Anna smiled brightly when she heard him say it, then replied, "Yes." At that moment, a loud explosion echoed in the sky, as fireworks shot up, releasing the festival's brilliant light. Volleys of fireworks were launched continuously, each one bursting with different brilliant colors, illuminating the entire space. Anna sat on the boat, looking up, and cried out in complete awe at their beauty. "Yes," Brian, seeing her expression, asked, "Could this be your first time seeing fireworks?" Anna, excitedly watching the fireworks, answered him innocently, "Yes, it's my first time." Hearing her answer, Brian looked at her calmly, an indescribable emotion flickering in his eyes from that night 4 years ago. Brian looked at her calmly, an indescribable emotion flickering in his eyes from that night 4 years ago. On the boat, she was unusually tired. When the fireworks started, her face looked pale, but she still had to participate until the end in her role as the crown princess. On the boat, she was unusually tired when the fireworks started. Her face looked pale, but she still had to participate until the end as the crown princess. At that time, I thought she was truly amazing. A week later, I learned the reason Gladys wasn't well. She was pregnant. Congratulations, Your Highness. I learned the reason Gladys wasn't well. She was pregnant. Congratulations, Your Highness. The royal physician informed me, but after a long time, I found a suitable answer. Like a frog in a slowly heating pot, on a strange and sweltering afternoon. There was neither trust nor suspicion, and so I grew to like those days that were mere formalities, and everything gradually became easier. My father is a complex and sophisticated man. After the meaningless formalities, life became much lighter. There was neither trust nor suspicion, and so I grew to like those days that were mere formalities, and everything gradually became easier. Before me is a beautiful woman, and I'm enjoying the festival night. I won. A few years later, it's like meeting Gladys again. Unexpectedly, the large purple hat flew off her head. It flew with the wind. Anna cried out in surprise, "My hat! No!" The hat fell into the clear blue water. The one who helped me earn several times more than the lost trophy money. A true trump card. Anna cried out in surprise, "Sit still! Don't you dare move an inch!" Just as she said that, Anna immediately leaned over to pick up her hat. Seeing this, John yelled, "It's dangerous! Sit still!" Right after, Brown moved to hold her back. The boat began to capsize, causing Brown and Anna to panic. Then the small boat completely flipped over on the water. The water churned and splashed everywhere. The guests on the shore who witnessed it screamed. The boat began to capsize, making both Brown and Anna panic, and then the small boat flipped upside down on the water, churning and splashing. The guests on the shore who witnessed it screamed, "Look, there's an accident! The prince's boat was rowing on the clear blue water. Look, there's an accident! The prince's boat was rowing on the clear blue water." Anna slowly sank, her long hair and dress fanning out in the water. She cried out helplessly in her mind, "Why can't I scream for help?" At that moment, a hand grabbed her shoulder. Her eyes met his. Brown held her tightly in his arms. "It's okay. You're going to be all right. It's going to be okay, I see. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay." Right then, a loud voice shouted, "Miss Sing!" Hearing the call, Anna groggily opened her eyes, completely soaked. Beyonce was just as wet, staring intently at her. His deep, warm voice spoke softly, "You're awake." Suddenly, Anna choked and coughed. John simply looked at her and said reassuringly, "It's okay now." Now, his large hands gently caressed her face reassuringly. "It's all right." Blonde gently sat down beside her, his hand still resting on her forehead. He brushed back his own wet hair. His eyes had been fixed on her, a faint smile on his lips. Anna lay there exhausted, her gaze listless. John's thoughts surfaced. Everything happened so unexpectedly, and the atmosphere grew quiet. The two looked at each other silently, saying nothing because the hat had fallen into the water. She even acted like she saw a creep. If only she'd sat still, the boat wouldn't have capsized. John's face was lost in thought. "Anyway, that girl is nothing but trouble. It's all over now. From now on, I'm staying out of it." But suddenly, a loud, anxious shout cut through his thoughts. "Prince Anna, Prince, are you all right?" "I'm fine." After replying, he slowly turned to look back. Anna was wrapped in clothes, her eyes still showing fear, as John looked back with a somber expression. Finally, his tall figure walked away. Anna stood silently watching him, having successfully escaped in the night as planned. The blonde man rushed over, his voice filled with worry. "Sir, are you all right?" And the young lady, "Sing. Or maybe I should just give up and settle down in this city." John's deep voice said, "Give me my money." And to Anna, "Sing. It all ends here. The festival is over, and everything will go back to how it was." Under a sky of dark clouds and falling snow stood a large, elaborate mansion, from which a venomous voice rang out. "This short-sighted, idiotic thing." A newspaper covered in dense print was stomped on forcefully. The furious voice continued, "How many times did I warn him and he still doesn't understand? I need to calm down. Isn't Count Le Mans still an option? It's not over yet. He immediately decided to meet with Count Le Mans tonight. So stop drinking, Arian." His face filled with rage. He gritted his teeth and cursed internally. Damn it. The scandal between Prince Phien and Anna from the festival erupted once more, with that absurd rumor spreading all over legend. But no one expected it to cause such public uproar. The catalyst was Princess Gladys's response to the criticism. It was aimed at the prince for openly philandering in front of his forgiving ex-wife, who had even been actively trying to reconcile. The princess herself came forward to explain, even bringing up their deceased child. Gladys's soft voice spoke. "Please, by all means, stop criticizing Bien. Even though we are divorced, he always cared for our child. And he is heartbroken by our child's tragic death. He is a father who has lost his beloved child. Reconciliation is not something I can force." Tears streamed down onto her hands. Her words, "If he chooses that young lady, Sing, I will respect that love." And so, the princess's interview had its intended effect. Anna could never do something like that. Because the noble princess did everything to protect his love, Anna, her rival, unintentionally became seen as a homewrecker. The people of legend saw Anna as the obstacle to the prince and princess's reconciliation. They were furious, and the situation was worsening. The suitors who had taken the bait for Anna began to withdraw, one by one. A hand clenched a newspaper, crumpling it. It revealed an utter fury. A thought sparked. Now, there's only the dying Count Le Mans left. It revealed an utter fury, and a thought sparked. Now, there's only the dying Count Le Mans left. What he wants is a beautiful young woman to give him a son. Arian gritted his teeth. His body trembled. So, as someone who doesn't care about his reputation, he surely won't back out now. It has to be this way. His face went pale as a sound was heard. Trembling hands picked up the piece of paper. A panicked voice rang out. "What? It's nothing, right?" Immediately after, the paper fluttered to the floor. On the white sheet was a single, neatly written line with a signature at the bottom. The line was blunt. "Tonight's dinner is canceled." Reading the note, he froze like a statue, completely shocked. Inside a small, simple house with an antique charm, a tragic sob rang out, followed by a pleading voice. He stood like a statue, frozen stiff with shock, in a small, simple house with an antique charm. Mrs. Griff stood to the side, her face stained with tears, and said in agreement, "Of course. My child, my poor child. Anna would never do something like that. There must be some misunderstanding." Lady Barden leaned in and whispered, "Walter, Sing, it's all his fault. I have to save Anna. I can't abandon her to suffer alone like Annette did. Never." Having also visited many places, Lady Barden leaned in and whispered, "Walter, Sing, it's all his fault. I have to save Anna. I can't abandon her to suffer alone like Annette did. Never." The scene changes. A steaming cup of tea sits neatly on a table. In the quiet of the room, Blonde sat deep in thought with a somber face when a voice broke the silence. "The king is wrong. He shouldn't sell his daughter to legend again. He should abdicate the throne. He is such a brilliant strategist, and Gladys is clever. She has no malice and genuinely wants to protect her ex-husband. I want to help the daughter of the Hat clan to spare her from public criticism. Please don't misunderstand me." But in reality, it was scorn. And so, the grieving father lost his beloved child. The one who used to suffocate others with the cruel truth instead of lying has now grown accustomed to deceit. Her craftsmanship is amazing. A soft voice asked, "Are you not making any flowers today?" Hearing this, Anna was startled and said, "Huh?" before quickly understanding and replying, "I just wanted to rest for a bit." Lisa's face fell, filled with worry. Your face has suddenly become so thin and pale. How can you be all right? He's such a villain. How could he put someone in such a terrible position? The newspapers and the public are all attacking you, my lady. It's heartbreaking. How can I stop thinking about it? Everywhere we go, they all gang up to insult you, my lady. It's so painful, I can't stop thinking about it. So please don't pay any mind to those false rumors, Anna replied gently. Thank you, Lisa. I'll keep that in mind, my lady. Honestly, you're talking as if we'll never meet again. I'm still going to follow you to your marital home. You can't abandon me. Hearing this, Anna gave a small smile and looked at Lisa. Under the dark night sky, her sincere thoughts echoed softly. Thank you, Lisa. You're always so kind. I'm sorry for leaving without saying anything to you. I want to talk with Lisa a little longer. Then, Lisa left, wishing her, sleep well. Most of my memories in this city are of deceit, exploitation, and hatred, but my memories with Lisa are the only beautiful ones. Anna's face fell as she was lost in thought. Though the scandal involving her benefactor was a shock, a loud, continuous cry made her turn around, startled. Exploitation and hatred, but the only beautiful memories were with Lisa. Anna's face fell, lost in thought. When someone appeared in front of her, Anna was utterly stunned to see who it was. What's that noise at this hour? At that exact moment, a man burst through the open door. This isn't good. Phien stood by the window, his face full of worry, his mind in turmoil. Why is the weather so harsh on the day I'm taking Anna away? She asked me to paint her portrait as thanks. Something's wrong. Phien stood by the window, his face full of worry, his heart in turmoil. Why on the day I'm taking Anna away is the weather so harsh? She asked me to paint her portrait as thanks. I decided to meet Anna at 7 o'clock in front of the central GA Square clock tower. The portrait will be done by morning. Half a day by train to Squaring is just enough time. It's fine, I can't be late. Suddenly, a voice interrupted his thoughts. Sir, my lady says everything is ready. All right, I'm coming. As Phien turned and took a few steps, a flash of light from behind him shone through the window, illuminating the room. Phien turned around, startled. All right, I'm coming. As Phien turned and took a few steps, behind him, a flash of light from the window illuminated the room. Phien turned around, startled. It seems this won't be settled easily in one room. His voice rang out in discontent. You cruel bastard. That cruel bastard already won the bet and still comes to take our money. Bjorn, you haven't seen Miss Hardy since that day. Hearing this, Bjorn fell into a pensive silence. The room was quiet as his two friends just looked at each other. They exchanged a look, as if to say this seems serious. I think our game went too far. I feel a bit guilty about a girl's future. I didn't think Bjorn would get involved in this. Our friend Bjorn was never interested before, but now he cares about Miss Hardy, casting Princess Gladys aside. So what's the point of bad-mouthing the little noble girl? Even so, we can't do anything to help Miss Hardy. The reason Miss Hardy was attacked at first was because everyone thought she was preventing Bjorn and Gladys from getting back together. But given the current situation, he proposed a solution. The only way is for Bjorn to get back together with her. Imagining that happy scene, he couldn't understand why everyone was so fond of the couple Bjorn and Gladys. Hearing the rain pouring outside, he couldn't help but sigh. This rain is crazy. Bjorn just sat quietly to one side, lost in thought. That cold, rainy night led to a dreary day. Perhaps this was the chance for a dramatic escape to unfold. Thinking about Anna leaving with her belongings, he wondered if she'd successfully escape. He glanced at the clock, its hands ticking away. Thinking about Anna leaving with her belongings, he wondered if she'd successfully escape, glancing at the clock's ticking hands. Suddenly, a pair of feet stepped onto the rain-soaked stone floor. Meanwhile, she had arrived, standing before the large clock in the center of the square. Anna ignored the raindrops on her face, her mind in turmoil. Elsewhere, the train was blocked by a landslide and forced to a halt. An impatient Phien quickly jumped off the train. What's happening? Hearing him, the conductor turned to explain. The heavy rain caused a rockslide, sir. I'm trying to clear it as fast as I can. It's hard to say how long we'll be delayed, but he couldn't wait. He immediately tried to figure out another plan. Who knows how long this will take? At this rate, I'll be late. I have to find another way. He immediately tried to figure out another plan. Who knows how long this will take? At this rate, I'll be late. I have to find another way. Then, Phien hurriedly asked if there was a village nearby or any place that rented horses. I'm coming, Anna. The relentless rain poured down, making the plants look even more lush. The man held an umbrella over him. Prince, where are you going? Bjorn calmly ordered. To the GA, amidst the downpour and towering buildings. The butler asked doubtfully, the GA, the train station? Are you taking a train? I don't see it on your schedule. He replied leisurely. No, I'm just stopping by for a moment and we'll be right back. That's all. Once inside the carriage, Bjorn was lost in thought about the person who was like a fragile hydrangea in the rain. Anna Hardy. He remembered her silhouette. Bjorn was still lost in thought, that person like a fragile hydrangea in the rain. Anna Hardy, remembering her silhouette. He last saw her last week, her eyes like a lost child's. That day, he had glanced back at her. Soaked by the rain, Bjorn had chosen to leave, but her pitiful eyes and her request left him with a lingering regret, as if he had refused her, like a child's hand clinging to him. Now, he felt conflicted, and he didn't know why it was so unsettling. That very night, Bjorn's carriage stopped in front of the train station. He looked at the deserted platform. He sighed wearily. There's no reason for her to be here. She's probably gone. Let's go. Suddenly, Bjorn noticed a familiar figure not far away. Wait a minute. He couldn't quite believe it. Bjorn tried to get a better look, observing her dejected face and sorrowful eyes. Bjorn was surprised. Why is she still here? Time rewinds to the heaviest downpour at the dark, cold train station. At that moment, Anna had only one thought. Phien didn't come because of the heavy rain. She could only huddle in a corner. I knocked and called for him over and over, but there was no sign of Phien. Anna was exhausted, her whole body trembling as despair crept in. What do I do now? Without the money Phien was bringing, I can't escape my father. Maybe I should just go into the station and wait for him. If he's not here by midnight, I'll go back to Burford alone. It will be fine. It's simple enough. She tried to stand up, but she was too weak, and her steps were unsteady. Anna lost her balance and fell forward, hitting the ground hard. She felt a surge of grief, her eyes filling with tears. Shaking uncontrollably, Anna pushed herself up from the stone floor, telling herself, "Get up, Anna. I have to get up." Suddenly, the falling raindrops vanished. She was confused. In disbelief, she thought, the rain stopped? That's impossible. When Anna looked up, she saw Bjorn was holding an umbrella over her. Seeing his face clearly, she was completely shocked. "Prince, what are you doing here?" He slowly knelt, shielding her from the drenching rain. Anna didn't want him to see her in this miserable state. She quickly turned her head away. "No, my face." But Bjorn gently lifted her chin. He didn't let her hide, making Anna face him directly. Bjorn carefully observed her condition. Anna froze at the unexpected gesture as he forced her to look directly into his eyes. A moment later, Anna sat exhausted in the carriage, unable to believe this wasn't a dream. "I don't know. I'm not thinking straight." However, seeing Bjorn's face across from her only made her more confused. If this was real, why was the prince there? Remembering him holding the umbrella, Anna kept asking herself, "Why did you come for me?" In the pouring rain, Bjorn had asked in a cold voice, "I wonder who Miss Hardy was waiting for." "That person didn't come. You've been abandoned." At this point, Anna was completely worn out. She fell into a deep sleep, while he grew curious about her, especially the wound on her face. Bjorn vaguely guessed that the reason she ran from her father wasn't just because of a business marriage. That wound was probably from the time her scandalous picture made the front page, right after the first scandal broke. She had suddenly disappeared for 2 weeks, only to reappear looking more radiant than ever. The thought made him even more irritated. Perhaps that was the time she needed for the wound to heal. Walter Hardy, that bastard. He thought the deal was done, but now he felt unexpectedly indebted, remembering her huddled in that corner. Bjorn silently realized that for her to wait like that, getting completely soaked, she must have been waiting for someone. Then, an image of Phien appeared in his mind. That guy, Phien. Bjorn could only smirk. No wonder. It was none other than the man who held the beautiful princess, the princess's poet. To him, Phien was just a weak artist, until he heard the sound of hooves outside the carriage. Bjorn saw him riding hastily toward the station, his face dirty and rain-soaked. Phien. So it really was him. He showed his contempt without hiding it. Secondly, Bjorn noticed Anna's exhaustion. One of my predictions was wrong. It seems she wasn't abandoned by him after all, Miss Anna. Under the cold night sky, he just felt, "I don't like this variable." As if sensing something, Anna suddenly startled awake. As she looked to the window to see outside, Bjorn pulled the curtain, blocking the view. He ignored Phien, who was soaked to the bone and searching frantically for her. He gripped the curtain tightly, his emotions in turmoil. The rain outside showed no signs of stopping, growing heavier by the moment, and then the carriage began to move. Leaving this place of despair, it wasn't long before the carriage arrived at a private residence, pulling up next to the prince's carriage. He summoned Brian and me while Anna lay on his lap, and he shot a meaningful look at the man. The man quickly understood, stammering in compliance. "Yes, I understand," while she remained blissfully asleep. He was silent, wondering what the future held for her here in this magnificent mansion. Baroness Barden came storming in to demand her back. "Give Anna back to me, Viscount." Arian sneered contemptuously. "What are you talking about, Baroness? You seem confident, so state your reason for being here." "I'm taking the child with me. I don't want to leave that good girl by your side for a moment longer." He scoffed arrogantly. "Do you have any idea who you have to thank for the house you live in?" His words echoed. This only angered Baroness Barden more. "It's true, it was thanks to you, but I don't need it. I don't care if you sell it or not, just give Anna back immediately." At this, Arian looked bewildered. Realizing something was wrong, he wondered if she had come looking for Anna because she hadn't returned to Burford. Hearing this, she was shocked, and her face instantly paled. "What did you say? Anna returned to Burford?" He was horrified as he realized something. The storm had passed by the next morning. Anna's maid was crying that Anna had disappeared. Anyway, that child only has that rustic place to go, so why should I care if she doesn't come back? If that's the case, she ran away from home. Baroness Barden could not accept his irresponsible nature. She furiously yelled at Walter Harry, clutching her handkerchief so tightly her whole body trembled. "You don't even know where your own daughter is. It's always whine, whine, whine. Are you even worthy of being her father? I was so foolish, so utterly foolish." Barden stumbled out of the room. Griffith rushed to the lady. "What about Lady Anna?" She urged him hastily, "Quick, go file a report." Griffith was bewildered. "File a report, my lady?" She was now so devastated that Griffith had to support her. Anna was missing. She thought of the girl's beautiful, unharmed appearance. She was terribly worried. Our Anna went missing on a night of torrential rain as a carriage rolled along a deserted road. Then Blonde brought Anna back to the mansion and helped her into a chair. Seeing her current state, he had only one thought. She's completely soaked. She needs to change. Blonde gently shook Anna, trying to wake her up. "Miss Hottie, this won't do. You have to change out of these wet clothes." Anna's eyes flew open. Seeing him in front of her, she panicked and hastily covered her chest. I can do it myself." But Blonde paid no mind to her attitude and simply turned to leave. "Very well, I'll wait outside. Call me when you're done." He stood waiting in front of the door, taking out his watch to time her. Then Blonde closed the watch. He told himself that in 5 minutes, he would go in, even if it made him seem like a creep. Time passed. 3, 2, 1. As time ran out, he immediately threw the door open. The sight that greeted him was Anna, already changed, lying on the chair, having fallen asleep. He couldn't believe it. It had only been 5 minutes, yet her bow was neatly tied and her buttons were all fastened. Blonde was a bit surprised and confused. Why bother tying a bow? But he dismissed the thought and gently carried her to the bed. After a night of storms, the sky was clearer than ever. Everything returned to its usual routine. While Blonde was on the balcony admiring the bustling scenery, a stern-faced Fit approached to give a report. "Prince, everything is ready. We should go." "Yes." He was quite pleased, his voice gentle. "Thank you." Just then, a knock sounded at the door. Anna, having finished getting ready, called out, "Yes, please come in." Prince Blonde entered the room with an expressionless face. The two of them enjoyed the delicious tea and cakes. She awkwardly brought up the subject. "Thank you, Prince. I heard from Mrs. Fit that you were the one who brought me here that day," he replied nonchalantly. "It was just a coincidence." And so, the atmosphere fell silent. Watching Blonde silently lift the hot teacup, she thought it was unbelievable. "It's like a dream. The prince really helped me that day." She recalled Fit's cold words. "You must have been terrified, Miss Hottie. This is the prince's villa in North Squaring. On that stormy night, the prince brought you here. Your whole body was aching. I don't know the private details between you two. You should speak more with the prince, milady." Anna stared at the fragrant tea, then mustered all her courage to speak. "Prince." She then calmly poured out her heart. "You help me so much every time. I truly thank you, and I apologize. I won't bother you anymore. I will go back. Because of me, you've been caught up in unpleasant rumors. And I also have to find my friend." He was somewhat surprised. "A friend?" He immediately understood, unconsciously saying a name. "Phien." He imagined the scene of Anna leaving with him in the night. "That's right, isn't it? Phien Loss, the one who planned to elope with you. The promising painter from the art academy." Hearing this, she couldn't help but be stunned. "How did you know about that? Did I tell you about Phien? Could it be the rumors?" Just then, Blonde leisurely told her, "You told me." Anna was shocked and hurriedly asked for clarification. "Really? I did? So, besides you, no one else knows about this, right?" He confirmed it. "Probably." She felt more relieved than ever. "That's a relief. If another rumor started about this, I wouldn't know what to do. Please keep it a secret for me. I'm counting on you. If rumors spread about this, it will cause trouble for Phien." Blonde's expression didn't change as he casually mentioned why the rumors and criticism had died down. "Isn't this the perfect opportunity to run away? For love." Hearing those words, Anna immediately clarified. "What love? That's ridiculous. Phien is both my friend and my family. It's true we were going to Burford together, but it was also because of the money I borrowed from him. It's dangerous to carry such a large sum of money alone, so he was coming with me." At this, he finally understood, his face showing clear annoyance. "The money you borrowed, Phien's money." His stern tone startled her. Blonde called out to her with an imposing air, "Miss Hottie," but Anna just lowered her head. "Why does the prince always figure things out?" He continued to question her. "Tell me." Anna was lost in a past memory of a previous boat ride. "That time, that summer night was wonderful. What if that's our last memory?" On the other side of town, 2 cups of tea had been poured and gone cold, without a single drop being drunk. Baroness Barden, sad and sobbing, lamented to Phien. "What are we going to do, Phien? Anna is gone. I've reported it to the police, but a day has passed and there's still no news. Now I'm going to the police station again." He wasn't any better. His mood was extremely gloomy. "Anna." On that stormy, windy night, Phien rode his horse all night searching for her. That night, Anna was nowhere to be found. He changed direction and rode to the Viscount's mansion. Perhaps she wanted to return to the Hottie estate. "I'll go to the mansion to look. I heard she wasn't feeling well and was recovering. That sounded a bit strange, but I thought she had returned home safely." I waited. Phien kept waiting for news from Anna, but a day passed and she didn't contact him. There were no letters in reply either. He clenched his fists worriedly, restless as he felt something was wrong, his mind uneasy. Baroness Barden regained some composure and looked up to ask him, "The police said they're coming to see you tonight? It'll be all right, won't it? They won't cause any trouble for you, right?" "Yes." Phien kept his head down, feeling extremely conflicted. "Where on earth do I start explaining this?" "Yes, Baroness, it's nothing. But I have to make a decision before I meet the police tonight. Meanwhile, at Blonde's villa, he stated decisively, "I will give you the money." He didn't forget to mention the loan from Phien. I'll pay it for you. Anna's eyes widened in surprise. Knowing she was still worried, Blonde added, don't worry, it's not a loan. I'm just paying it for you. Anna asked in surprise, why? Why would you do that? Why would you pay it for me? Now, his image of her had improved greatly. That bet money. From teasing her. It's best to return it to her. At this, Blonde was lost in thought. A pitiful girl deceived by her filthy father, and I'm also someone who made her life more miserable. Money is what she needs most right now, and I can give it to her. Suddenly, a voice came from outside the door. My prince, it's fit. There's an urgent summons from the kingdom. She hastily reported the situation. His Majesty orders you to return to the palace immediately. Hearing this, he was quite surprised. Thinking of his father's imposing figure, Blonde blurted out, Father. After that, he returned to the royal palace. I heard you were looking for me, father. The king's tone was cold. Yes, he had serious matters to discuss with you. The chief of police came to them and said, the daughter of the HD clan has gone missing. If they contact you about this, you must report it truthfully. Hearing that Brown had to confess something Anna HD is missing. For the chief of police to show up, they must be sure this case is related to us. She is not missing. And yet they reported it to His Majesty. Such loyalty. I brought Miss HD here. Hearing this, the king and queen were utterly shocked. Yes, he calmly recounted what had happened at that time. I'm just helping her temporarily. I will arrange things, father, do not worry. But he could not accept this at all. Arrange what? You mean handle it yourself. If that's what you mean, I agree. Brown was stunned and immediately looked up to read the king's expression. You agree. He offered him a solution. Marry the singing girl. Not long after the police made an announcement, the case of the missing singing girl is closed. It was not a disappearance. Phien was astonished and in disbelief. What? That's not right. Can you show me the newspapers with the news about her? How could it not be right? Haven't you read the papers? The missing Anna HD is actually living with John Lester. On the front page, he was horrified after reading the content of the newspaper. Not true. How could it be? There must be some misunderstanding. Living with the Prince Anna, how could that be? Suddenly, a loud thud was heard. Then came a horrified scream. Oh my lady. Baroness Barden fainted after reading the newspaper. Griff hurriedly called for help. My lady, please wake up. Phien, my lady, someone call a doctor for me. He was still worried. Where on earth are you, Anna? Night fell with only the lonely moon illuminating the sky. At a small house, she had been waiting outside the door for a long time. Anna wore a large hat to hide her injured face. Phien is not home today either. I have nowhere else to go. I am all alone. A few blocks away, Phien's shout was heard. Anna. His voice was filled with joy. So Phien was in squaring. He rushed over. Where on earth have you been? You. Anna was flustered and tried to avoid the question. Well, I had some personal business. What about you? What happened that day? Phien was also quite flustered and stammered. I do not know where to start. First, let's go to the hospital. She became timid, somewhat reluctant to go there. The hospital. What for? Then he saw her face. He was startled in astonishment. Your face. Phien hurriedly demanded to know. Did that old man hit you again? Anna pulled her hat down, wanting to avoid his question. I will tell you about that later. First, tell me clearly why we have to go to the hospital. Phien then recounted the Baroness's current situation. Calm down, Anna. Baroness Barden is in the hospital. Hearing this, she immediately became anxious. What do you mean, Phien? Why is she in this extravagant city? He tried to calm her down. I will explain later. First, let's go visit her. Meanwhile, Leon was playing billiards. He was also troubled by the news in the article. It seems I was born in the wrong era, having to live in such a barbaric age. Getting rid of a few eyesores would not be a problem. Leon lowered his cue and asked what he had been wondering. This cheap newspaper needs to be shut down. And yet father and mother agreed to your marriage with Anna HD, but you do not seem to take it seriously at all. Marriage. Are you crazy? In a lavish room at the mansion, thanks to the bombshell father dropped this morning, he remembered his promise to help Anna. I only just remembered it. Though I rushed back to the villa, Anna was already gone. She had left a letter. The neat handwriting in the letter clearly expressed her reasoning. Your Highness, thank you. I am very grateful for your offer, but I must decline. Sincerely. It's all just cliché annoying content, but I do not care. The money can be transferred through someone else. There is no reason for us to meet again. I am actually grateful. At least she did not mention going back to the countryside. Isolated from the world, no matter how wild the rumors get, they will not reach that far. That girl. She will find her own way somehow. It could be the countryside resting peacefully under a cool green tree. Just then, Fitz quickly came to report on Anna's situation. Your Highness, Miss HD is at the hospital. John was surprised somewhat in disbelief. The hospital. Fitz calmly replied, yes, this morning Baroness Barden fainted at the police station. She was taken to the hospital. Miss HD is currently there taking care of the Baroness. Do not be surprised when you see her heavily made-up face. Oh my goodness. You have changed, you have been corrupted, and now you are wearing makeup. Anna could only make an excuse. This is just what is fashionable in the city. Ma'am, a recent trend, you say. I still cannot accept this trend. Oh dear, this shallow city has finally corrupted you. Baroness Barden held her head, feeling endlessly tired. You said you were missing because you were out with friends for a few days. I know you are lying. You have fallen for that wicked prince. I should not have sent you to live in this place. I do not want to see you like this. That is enough. I want to rest. Helpless Anna could only obey. Yes, ma'am. Please get some rest. I will call you when it is time to eat. She left the hospital room. The lights were on as she closed the door to the room. Outside in the hallway, Anna slowly placed her hand on the large window. She silently looked at her reflection in the window pane. Even I see an unfamiliar face. I put on makeup to hide the wounds. The Baroness's current condition is a myocardial infarction, the same illness that caused the Baron's death. The reason she fainted was due to cardiac arrest. If she also passes away suddenly like he did, I could never forgive myself. Anna clenched her fists, her heart filled with torment. If she saw the wounds on my face, she would be even more shocked. But she could only blame herself. It is better if I just become a corrupted, ruined person. Time passed until the sky began to brighten at dawn. A group of noblemen gathered and gossiped. I heard that Anna HD girl is at the hospital, but the one paying the bills is not from the HD family. So who is it? They say it is that artist, Pavelord. A man is paying her bills right after she was publicly living with the prince. Now there is another man. She truly lives up to her name as the most cunning vixen. Legend would not go so far as to control the nation's laws, would he? After hearing these words, Bjorn just calmly drew a card looking distracted. He gathered his courage to call out, "Hey Bjorn." He wanted to probe John's thoughts. That singing girl. She is not that bad of a woman, is she? He remained cold, but the other man maintained a casual air as he commented, "Well, she should know her limits." That is what I mean. If she keeps this up, it will be hard to remain as pure as she once was. She looked so pitiful. And then 3 cards were thrown onto the table by him. After that, Bjorn leaned back in his chair. He contemplated what had happened. Everything was like a song on repeat. First, she would have to fall. Even if the singing Anna disappears, this song will never stop. These women will just target another woman next. Me and Gladys, unless one of us dies. He recalled the king's proposal from that day. Or because of my father's command, I should marry Anna HD. Bjorn fell into a vortex of trouble, unable to escape. I have no romantic notions about Anna HD, and Gladys is indifferent to whether we marry or divorce. There is no love and no reason to justify its absence. The benefits she brings outweigh the disadvantages. Imagining Anna in a pristine white dress, she is very beautiful. Even if there are no other benefits and her flaws could fill a book, at least I will not have to see Gladys's tearful face. As the prince just not having to hear the name Gladys would be enough, Bjorn pushed out another chip. I started this game, so I will end it myself. It is fine. He clenched his fist. It seemed he had made up his mind. Seeing Bjorn's sudden action, his friends were bewildered. "Your Highness, what are you doing?" However, he just grabbed his coat and slung it over his shoulder. He left them with a final remark, going to handle things at the hospital. The gossiping crowd began to whisper. "It is that girl, the one who seduced the prince. Surely that poisonous mushroom has not caught the prince's eye." Just then, Anna arrived carrying a basin of water. Out in the hospital corridor, seeing John appear, everyone hurriedly moved aside. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. Everyone was still focused on Anna. Is that really the girl? As he walked down the long corridor, he noticed a vase of fresh roses not far away. She then took the most beautiful rose in the room, as Baroness Barden continuously blamed herself. "It's all my fault. I've ruined my niece's life just to keep that house. Besides, if she marries the prince, what will her married life be like? I'm doomed. I won't be able to face him and Anna." Anna, trying to be cheerful, said, "It's fine as long as I don't get married. Don't believe the silly rumors people make up. There's really nothing like that between me and the prince." But she didn't know that John had pushed the door open and entered the room. Seeing him, Anna was extremely surprised. "Prince, why are you here?" John spoke calmly, "Lady Hati." He then knelt on one knee. "I'm sorry to have kept you waiting." The prince understood this was no different from a card game, with marriage as the stakes. The moment you place your bet, you're in it to win it. He smiled confidently. His eyes showed a calculating look. "I'll stick with this decision now. I know she doesn't bring much benefit, but all I want is to live in harmony together." Looking at the innocent Anna before him, she was quiet, beautiful, and harmless. The prince maintained his proposing posture and spoke his most sincere words. "Lady Anna Hati, will you marry me?" Anna's whole body trembled, her hands pressed against her chest with a deep-seated emotion. "Am I dreaming right now?" Anna, suddenly agitated, whipped her head around to look at the Baroness. Baden and Griff were so shocked they covered their mouths. Then she resolutely told herself, "No, this isn't a dream. The prince is proposing to me, not some other girl. How can this be? He doesn't even love me. I have to refuse this ridiculous proposal." Just then, the prince suddenly spoke softly. "Lady Hati, I'm sorry for making you wait." Anna's hand, reaching for the flower, stopped midair. She lowered her head to look at his face, thinking to herself, an apology without a hint of sincerity. A slow, leisurely smile as if he already knew the answer. Anna lowered her eyes, her mind filled with complicated thoughts. But even so, I'm so happy he came. Even though it was late, because he came. Anna suddenly closed her eyes tightly, then turned her head away. The prince's eyes widened in surprise as he saw Anna's body brush past him. A loud thud was heard. Then, Anna fell against the prince's back and fainted. The people outside were immediately stunned, their faces covered in panicked sweat. The prince gently held the unconscious Anna tightly in pensive silence. As if deep in thought, the beautiful rose was still held neatly in her hand, not having fallen at all. In the following days, this event became the talk of the town. Prince John proposes to the beloved daughter of the Hati clan. Did you hear? Oh my god, they say the Hati girl fainted from joy. That country girl who got beaten and ran away from home. Who knew she'd become the next crown princess? That's why she came back. Even His Majesty the King happily approved the marriage. Furthermore, the wedding will be held in the fall, within 2 months. This is truly unconventional. Will the famous romance novel legend have a tragic ending? In a certain room, a woman's voice suddenly rang out. You must forgive your father, Anna. I know you were hurt, but you know our situation was very difficult back then. We should reconcile before the wedding. You need your father to walk you down the aisle. Let's have dinner together. What do you think? We can invite Baroness Barden too, but in response to her suggestions, Anna just called out coldly. The tea is cold. She turned her head slightly, looking thoughtfully at the tea. As a maid poured it into her cup, Anna closed her eyes and asked indifferently, Excuse me, madam, what is it that you want? The woman stammered to express herself, answering, well, I mean, can we have dinner together? Before she could finish, Anna suddenly cut her off with annoyance. I can't give you an answer right now, Viscountess. Her cold voice rang out. I'll check my schedule and let you know. Hearing this, the woman's face twisted in anger. In another room, Anna and Lisa were sitting. Lisa's annoyed voice rang out. The Viscountess is so shameless, my lady. Could you really forgive her so easily? You are so hard to understand, my lady. Even if I don't understand you, I will still love you, my lady. Hearing this, Anna said nothing, her face showing a flash of happiness at the word love. Lisa's thoughts flashed back to when the news of Lady Anna becoming the crown princess spread everywhere. I thought you would forget a lowly servant like me. I thought I would be treated poorly and sent away. That day, Anna's gentle voice said, Lisa, you've worked so hard for me, haven't you? I'm sorry. Those words moved Lisa. Tears fell from her eyes. Come with me, Lisa. At that moment, I made up my mind. I will follow and love my lady for the rest of my life. No matter where you go, I will always follow and protect you. Her train of thought ended, and Lisa spoke again. My lady, the wedding is already next week, and the prince still hasn't come to see you. It's strange, for a marriage that has shaken the entire kingdom. I thought he was madly in love with you, but I guess it's no wonder people call him heartless. There's not a single letter or flower in the house. Anna replied softly. Ah, he's coming tomorrow. We plan to attend a luncheon together at the palace. Hearing this, Lisa thought to herself, it's been half a month since they last met. Something is definitely not right with my lady. She didn't know what others were thinking, only focusing on her appearance and preparing for the event. Lisa then said, My lady, I'll do your makeup beautifully that day. In her heart, she told herself, I can't nag. Anna smiled brightly. Thank you. Seeing that, Lisa smiled back. She looked at her with affectionate eyes. Elsewhere, a wooden table was cluttered with wine bottles and glasses. A drunk man lay with his face down on the table, muttering a curse. That cruel bastard. He wanted his own bachelor party again. Outside the door, John stood in a dignified uniform, basking in the sunlight. The meticulously designed green carriage began to move. The prince sat in the carriage, running a hand through his hair and sighing. His face was full of fatigue. Having 2 bachelor parties sounds ridiculous, but losing 7 times in these crazy games feels even more absurd. What did these madmen make me drink? I can't believe it lasted until morning at that grand, imposing mansion. Realizing he had arrived, the prince glanced out the window, and a wave of memories washed over him. The day he was sleeping on the edge of a fountain, a small figure stood in the wind, looking at where he lay. He was so out of it that he pinned Anna to the ground, terrifying her. Luckily, a butler came and pulled him off. Anna grabbed the golden horn-shaped cup and ran away. Back in the present, the prince thought with a faint smile. If Anna hadn't shown up that morning, I wonder how things would be different now. At a corner of the exquisitely designed mansion, majestic against the sky, in that space, a panicked voice shouted, Good heavens, Prince! You came back like this? But Lady Anna is waiting for you. What about Anna? Don't you have an appointment with her? You're having lunch with your fiancé today. The prince entered the room. Anna was wearing a sea blue princess dress, adorned with lace and patterns that made her look even more elegant. Seeing him, Anna smiled gently. Right after, the prince walked in, his body swaying. Anna began to speak, but before she could finish her greeting, the prince continued the greeting. My lady Hati. Seeing this, Anna thought, is that the smell of alcohol? I'm sorry. Yes, the prince still managed to say calmly, but his face was slightly flushed from being drunk. You see, I'm quite tired. How about you wait for me? If you don't mind, we can have dinner together instead, but it's a long time until dinner. Ah yes, all right. My apologies for being so abrupt. The prince's tall figure approached her, and his voice said, I'm giving this to you, Lady Hati, as an apology gift, as I promised. Anna thought as she looked down at the object in her hand. It was a golden cup shaped like a horn. Anna asked in confusion, what is this? A wolf's horn? Without waiting for an answer, the prince lay down on the sofa and fell asleep. A familiar sense of absurdity flashed through her mind. He drank too much at his bachelor party until morning. That's why he missed his appointment with his fiancée, and it was his own bachelor party. He's not even a virgin. She stopped that train of thought. Anna sighed, her gaze falling on the cup, and said softly, Wolves don't have horns, Prince. The prince replied casually, Is that so? Weren't they cut off? Anna was about to say something, but realized he was asleep and stopped. The prince sank into sleep, his face calm, his hands resting on his forehead. Seeing this, Anna let out a long sigh. Her hand snatched the golden cup, her mind a chaotic mess ever since the sudden proposal. I just can't understand it. The most confusing thing is this man, the prince who is about to become my husband. Should I call off the engagement? I fainted, and when I woke up, the marriage was already decided. Grandma and Grieve cried because they were so moved. The prince was gentle and smiling. "You're awake, my princess." His joke made me want to faint all over again. The pink glowed unpleasantly, like a spark from the fires of hell. And now he's not just a single guy, but the star of the bachelor party. Keeping the promise, these wolf horns that look like antlers are so annoying. Everything is a complete mess. But even so, time flew by as I watched the prince. He seemed to wake from a daze, blinking his eyes. He gently looked across. Anna was still sitting there, gazing at him thoughtfully. Her voice was soft. "You're awake." Blonde scratched his head and sat up, thinking to himself, "Damn, I fell asleep looking like this." "I must be very annoyed," Anna said, her face showing her irritation. "Did I really wait from noon until evening? Now you'll have to wait until noon tomorrow." Blonde calmly smoothed his hair with a slight smile. "No, just wait for me a moment. I need to prepare for dinner with a lady." Hearing that, she replied with a sulky expression, "If that's the case, then I will forgive you, your highness." Brian said nothing more, just smiling to himself and thinking, "She's angry," at a large greenhouse on the estate grounds. Brown was now dressed in majestic royal attire. He held out his hand and said, "This way, please." Anna placed her hand on his, her eyes glancing up at him. In the center of the surrounding greenhouse, Brown and Anna sat opposite each other at a long table, covered with a white cloth, which was beautifully set. A spread was laid out upon it.